Greetings, friends, and welcome to Captain Samuel's Sigils. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Martin Luther King Jr. I'd like to share something personal with you today, and what better place to do that than on the safe, trustworthy forum of the public internet? Even though I was born in the wealthy nation of the United States, I grew up in extreme rural poverty, and the best option I had for escaping this situation was the military. So as a young man, I found myself fighting and killing in Iraq, at war with people I had never met and had nothing against. And as a result of these experiences, I don't share consensus reality because most of the people I interact with haven't had these types of extreme experiences of poverty and war that I've had. To be fair, as I make my way through the world, there are people that make an effort to listen and get it, and I appreciate those people. They're like rare gems. For the most part, though, at best I get platitudes and indifference, and at worst, ostracization and punishment. I want to live in a world where I am heard. I want to live in a world where my voice matters. And because I can't control what other people do, I've got to focus on myself because I can control the way I live and I can control what I do. So the best way for me to live in a world where I'm heard and my voice matters is to hear others and validate their voices. I want to listen because listening acknowledges the humanity of others and it affirms the humanity in myself. So in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I'm announcing my 2026 Diversity Calendar Reading Challenge. And this is my second year doing this. I did it last year and had a great time with it. And I'm going to do it again. So basically, I look at a diversity calendar. Anyone will do, but I'll put the link to the one I used below. And I go through the calendar, and for each month, I pick an event that sounds interesting to me. And then I pick a book with an author or theme that matches. So here are my picks for 2026. February is Black History Month, and for that I'm going to read Imero by Charles Saunders. This is a sword and sorcery style tale set entirely in Africa with an African hero. And I've heard a lot of people mention this book, but I haven't seen a lot of people review it or cover it. So I'm going to find out what this is all about. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, buddy. Imero. And February is also the Lunar New Year, so I'm going to read another book by Grace Lin. I've read books by her before, and they always get me right in the feels. And so I'm going to read Grace Lin's When the Sea Turned to Silver. March is Women's History Month, and so I'll be reading The Crystal Singer by Anne McCaffrey. Now, Deb over at Omnivorous Reader loves Anne McCaffrey, and a lot of times in the comments, I'm always like, oh, I should get around to reading her. I should get around to reading her. And I never do. This March, I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to read some Anne McCaffrey and see what she's all about. And also, for the entire month of March, I commit to only reading books by women authors. Now, April has Earth Day, so I'll be reading The Word for World is Forest by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is a story about a world ravaged by exploitation and greed and what can be done about it. And in general, I need to be reading more Ursula K. Le Guin too, because she's a great writer. May is National Asian American and South Pacific Islander Heritage Month, which does include India, I checked. And I'm going to be reading Professor Ashwatthama, Rebirth of Ravana by Sahil Sharma, illustrated by Marco Michal. It is a cyberpunk graphic novel based on an Indian epic. To be honest, I've read the back of this a couple times. I'm still not entirely sure what it's about, but it just looks wild and interesting and off the beaten path, and that's for me, so I'm going to give that a try. June is Pride Month, and so I'm actually going to read a nonfiction book, and that is Never Say You Can't Survive: How to Get Through Hard Times by Making Up Stories by Charlie Jane Anders. So I'm an inspiring author myself. I wrote a speculative fiction book about my experiences in war. I'm working on another book about a similar thing. And so I'm hoping that this book will be helpful and supportive to me in that journey. July is Canada Day. Lately, I feel like my country, the United States, has been rude, to put it lightly, to the other nations of the world, especially our neighbor Canada. So I'll be reading The Midnight Robber by Canadian citizen Nalo Hopkinson. This is about a girl and her father who are banished to a prison world, and the entire thing is written in Caribbean patois. I read a little bit of the preview online, and it's going to be different. It reminded me a little bit of Ridley Walker or Clockwork Orange, one of those books that's written in an entirely different dialect, and you kind of have to work your mind around it. So that should be a fun challenge for me. August is Lunasa, which is a Wiccan holiday, and I'll be reading another nonfiction book, The History of Magic and the Occult by Kurt Seligman. I'm sorry if that's not like a perfect pick for a Wiccan holiday. I did some digging around, and that was the best I could come up with. If you have other suggestions, I'm open to them down below. Doing the best I can. Hopefully, that doesn't offend anyone that, I'm considering Wiccan religions like the occult or anything. But I know it seemed like an interesting book to me. I wanted to learn more about it. And it was in that ballpark. So there we go. That's my pick for August. September is Hispanic Heritage Month, and so I'll be reading Lizard in a Zoot Suit by Marco Finnegan. So this is a science fiction graphic novel which works in the Zoot Suit riot of 1943. And then October is Indigenous Peoples Day, and so I'll be reading Moonshot Volume 1. This is going to be a cool pick, I think. It's going to be a collection of graphic novels and short comics from indigenous people all over the world. I'm pumped for that. And then for November, for Veterans Day, my goal is to finish The Forever War by Joe Haldeman. Now, this past year, as you can see, I read about half of The Forever War, and this book is the real deal. Joe Haldeman is a Vietnam veteran, and I can tell. And reading this book was heavy and was really messing with my post-traumatic stress in a big way. And so I just decided, okay, I made it halfway through. I'll get back to this book later. And so my hope is that in November of this year, I'll read the second half of The Forever War because this book nails the war experience. Okay, and then for December, that's the holidays, and that's a busy time for me. And so I'm just going to take a break and just read whatever I want without any kind of structure or guidelines, just so I can focus on all the hullabaloo of the holidays. So anyway, that's it. If you like the idea of the Diversity Calendar Reading Challenge, you're welcome to participate. All you got to do is just look up a diversity calendar online. Again, the link to the one I used is below. And just look through, see what holidays or events interest you, and then pick out some books that fit that theme or by authors that fit that theme. And, even if you don't want to do the whole thing, just try reading one book by someone who has a vastly different background than you and just see what happens. Just see what that experience is like. I really enjoy it because being an author myself, it's like being a cook. If I want to be a master cook, I can't just eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with the crust cut off all the time. I got to try some sushi. I got to try some curry because then I'll get a wider variety of experiences and perspectives and stories and ways of looking at the world. And I can take all that in and be a more complex human, be a more complex author. It's all good stuff. And also, I just want to say, if you're not interested in this at all, don't worry about it. I think people have the right to read whatever they want. And if this isn't something that you're interested in, it's totally cool. Keep doing your thing. I will just say quick, though, that lately, if you try to value other perspectives, Um, Negative forces out there get really upset about that. And so if I get like hate in the comment section, I'm just going to ignore it. You should too. I'm going to be too busy reading epic books, honestly, to worry about, arguments in the comment section. And also, I'm not interested in like controlling other people or changing other people's minds. I'm interested in changing myself. The focus should be on me and what I'm doing, not try to, make everybody conform to what I want down in the comment section. And again, if some of my matches between the book and the event aren't a good fit, I apologize. Don't mean to offend anyone. Doing the best I can, and I'm learning here. So let's wrap it up with one more quote from the man of the day, Martin Luther King. If we are to have peace on earth, our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. Our loyalties must transcend our race, our tribe, our class, and our nation. And this means we must develop a world perspective. Oh, good stuff. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, everyone. Peace be with you. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks for watching.